It's video the LA County Sheriff's Department did not want you to see. Inmates screaming, dragged, bleeding, and unconscious from their cells in 2008. Good evening, I'm Mark Brown.
I'm Michelle Tuzzi. ABC7 fought to get those videos unsealed by the courts. The department fought against their release. To be clear, this video is from nearly 10 years ago, but the case is still costing taxpayers millions of dollars. Our Ellen Leyva is here now with this Eyewitness News.
Michelle, 19 out of the 20 inmates injured in this incident were hospitalized. And yes, the use of force can be justified, but a jury found that dozens of deputies engaged in malicious, sadistic conduct against these inmates. LA County jails have changed for the better in recent years, but to this day, the Sheriff's Department says all of the force you're about to see was justified.
Fire in the hole! Stop fighting with the deputies! Quit kicking! Quit kicking! Stop fighting!
August 25th, 2008, Men's Central Jail.
Hit him again! Hit him again!
Each click, click, click you hear is a taser delivering 50,000 volts of electricity to an inmate. This is how the 6-hour mass cell extraction of 20 inmates ended. And this is how it started. 65 inmates protesting what they say was excessive force against one inmate by deputies. The inmates say they'd had enough. They refused to come out of their cells.
The inmates on 3300 are now upset about the force that was used on that inmate.
That's Incident Commander Lieutenant Chris Blasnick briefing his teams before the cell extractions began.
And in retaliation, they have started breaking up their porcelain sinks, flooding their rows, lighting fires on the rows.
The Sheriff's Department tells Eyewitness News in a statement, these inmates were some of the most dangerous and violent criminals in the jail. Quote, we cannot allow inmates to hold an entire jail hostage. 44 inmates eventually left their cells voluntarily, but 20 did not.
Okay, sting ball. He is armed with porcelain. Be careful, you guys. Hey, take him out.
People screaming in anguish. They essentially broke people's eye orbits, kicking them in the face, breaking their ankles. One of our clients had broken spine.
Attorneys Ron Kay and James Mueller represented 5 of the injured inmates in their lawsuit against the county and 28 individual deputy sheriffs.
They wanted to teach them a lesson. And that, in this country, no matter what your status is unconstitutional.
They kept saying, show us your hands. And he keeps saying, my hands are right here.
2 of the inmates testified at trial that they were tased in the anus.
People were tased in the area of their anus in order to cause maximum pain.
This inmate dragged unconscious out of his cell, pants down, buttocks exposed. And this inmate, also unconscious, dragged out by deputies, including former Sheriff Baca's nephew.
We got a head injury.
According to him, a nurse told him later that she was pushing his eye back into its socket.
Unable to interview at this point. We'll try later.
Attorneys for the Sheriff's Department argued at trial that all of the force used on this day was justified. Here, inmates interviewed at the medical clinic, too afraid to say what happened.
You fell one. Say that again.
What happened up there? I was on my top bunk, I rolled over and I fell on the stool.
Did deputies do anything to you? No. Perfect.
Then captain of the jail, Dan Cruz, seen here looking on as inmate Carlos Flores is dragged away unconscious.
I don't recall any unconscious inmates. I really don't.
6 hours. This was not just a split-second decision. It was a calculated torture of these inmates, approved by the highest ranking person at the jail at the time.
In a video deposition, Lieutenant Blasnick was asked if he ever saw any inmate physically fighting the deputies.
There was an inmate there standing there swinging his arms and kicking his feet. They didn't get a chance to do that. We move in so quickly with those shields and knock them to the ground.
The judge noted that footage from some video cameras, like the one you see here, was either missing or destroyed by the department.
This entire scandal is riddled with efforts by the Sheriff's Department to hide the evidence.
The Sheriff's Department's internal affairs found that all of the use of force was within policy, although at least 3 key players involved in the cell extractions testified in depositions they were never interviewed.
And you were never formally interviewed by Internal Affairs?
No.
Were you interviewed by Internal Affairs concerning this incident?
Were you interviewed by Internal Affairs regarding this incident?
No, sir.
Attorneys for the inmates argue there is a code of silence among deputies, an allegation backed up by the Citizens Commission on Jail Violence in 2012.
Do you recall any of the force that you used during the extractions?
No.
Did you see any force used by any of the deputies during the extractions?
No.
Do you know what the code of silence is?
No.
Important to note that LA County taxpayers are on the hook for all of this. Jurors awarded the 5 inmates nearly $1 million in damages. They are now in state prison. Attorneys for the inmates will get $5.5 million in fees, and that tab is still running because the case is on appeal.